Welcome to the AreYouAnnie podcast, where those of you who have walked through fire or are still walking through it come to the other side of narcissistic abuse. If that's you, if you're still in the fire, if you're still picking up the pieces and still finding your way forward, I want you to know you're not alone. I'm your host, Kyle Hackley, attorney, mother, grandmother, and author of Undercurrent, a story about Annie Black, a young woman who is trapped in a narcissistic relationship and finds the courage to escape and reclaim her life and her identity. I need to ask you, have you ever been in a relationship where no matter how hard you try, it's just never enough? You bend over backwards to make this person happy, but they always seem miserable. They're always complaining. And worse, they're always making you feel like you just can't get it right. It's exhausting, isn't it? But here's the thing. This kind of narcissist isn't just negative. They're still in an element of entitlement and superiority. Their suffering isn't just about feeling bad. It's about believing they deserve more and blaming the whole world for not giving it to them. Today, we're going to analyze why the narcissist is just always unhappy, how this drains their partner, and let's see if there's a way of breaking free from this because it is emotionally exhausting. So let's get to it. Let's look at the complaining tactic. Narcissists often use chronic negativity as a way to manipulate and control. Their constant dissatisfaction keeps their partner in a state of endless effort, trying to fix something that was never meant to be fixed. If you think about it, they frame themselves as victims. They create an emotional atmosphere of guilt, tension, and obligation. Now, that seems contrary to the narcissist's need to be grandiose, doesn't it? But there's something more sinister behind all of this misery. At first glance, this type of narcissist may seem like they have low self-esteem. That's not the case. In reality, their negativity is just another form of superiority and entitlement. Instead of openly bragging, they frame their self-importance as complaints. I'm not getting the recognition I deserve. Other people have all the opportunities and they don't deserve them like I do. I could do better than that, but no one ever gives me a chance. Any of that sound familiar? This type of narcissist believes they deserve more success, more admiration, more validation. But instead of admitting they think they're superior, they frame it as suffering. They make their partner feel obligated to validate them constantly. What's crucial is that you understand what's really going on. The narcissist's misery is not your fault. They don't actually want to be happy because then they would lose control that comes from keeping you stuck trying to please them. It's crazy, isn't it? No amount of effort will ever be enough because their complaints are not real struggles. They're about distorted sense of superiority and resentment. And all of this is taking a horrible toll on you because you don't want to set off the narcissist. You start walking on eggshells. You're terrified of triggering another complaint because it's just so emotionally draining. And you're constantly wondering, what else can I do? Why isn't this working? And this throws you into the guilt trap. The narcissist keeps you stuck because they're always saying things like, no one understands how hard my life is. You don't care about me, and you're supposed to make me happy, but you're failing. Because their victimhood feels so real, you might even start working harder thinking, if I just love them a little bit more, they'll finally be happy. If I just praise them a little bit more, I can turn this around for them. But that moment isn't going to come. What happens is you start to lose yourself, sacrificing your own happiness for the narcissist who refuses to be happy no matter what you do. And the relationship becomes so one-sided, with one constantly giving and the other always taking and taking. There's a moment in Undercurrent that really illustrates this pattern. Annie, like so many spouses of narcissists, she's doing everything she can to make Santino happy. She makes sure his dinner is on the table on time. She serves it exactly as he likes it. She's careful, thoughtful, trying to get everything right. Because deep down, she believes if she does, and if she does everything perfectly, maybe tonight will be the night that he's happy. But then, in a split second, she spills the spaghetti. It's an accident, of course, something that could have happened to anyone. But instead of brushing it off, Santino does what a narcissist does. He explodes. He's not just angry. He makes this all her fault. He shames her. He blames her. He makes her feel this small, insignificant. And this little accident is somehow proof that she's a big failure. What does he do? He gets up from the table. He refuses to eat, and he refuses to engage with Annie. All the while, Annie scrambles to fix things, trying to calm him down, just trying to make it right. But it's not going to work. Here's the thing. Santino never had any intention of letting it be right. Food wasn't the issue. The spill wasn't the issue. The issue was control. The issue was he needed to keep his wife in a state of anxiety, guilt, and unworthiness. Because when someone is always feeling like they have to prove their worth, they don't have time to even realize that they're being treated unfairly. They don't even have the energy to realize they deserve better. This is what narcissists do. They'll take a small thing and turn it into proof of your failure. They'll create drama where there is none, and they will thrive on the exhaustion that it causes you, because the more you chase their approval, the more power they have over you. Now, what if Annie had realized in that moment it wasn't about the spaghetti at all? What if she had seen it for what it really was, just another way for her husband to control her? That's the shift I want you to think about today. If you're with somebody who reacts like this, who turns everyday moments into proof that somehow you're failing them, it's time to ask yourself, is this really all about me? Is this my fault? Or what can I do? I think the first step is realizing that you're not going to be able to make them happy, no matter what. Happiness is, let's face it, it's an inside job. And a narcissist just refuses to do that work. Their unhappiness is a tool, not really a problem to be solved. So stop seeking their approval. If their love depends on you constantly proving yourself, I don't think it's love. It looks like manipulation. So reclaim your joy. Shift your focus to what makes you happy. Recognize that someone determined to be miserable will never appreciate what you do for them. If you're in this situation, know this: you are not alone. The narcissist's misery is not a reflection of your worth. It's a tool that they're using to keep you under control. But you have the power to step away from that cycle. You deserve peace, joy, and love, and that doesn't feel, and it shouldn't feel, like a constant uphill battle. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Many of you are dropping comments, and I appreciate it. I think that every time you share an experience in a comment or you reach out, you are letting another Annie know that they are not alone. You're validating them. And that's a whole purpose of AreYouAnnie, because when you share your story, you're not just speaking for yourself. You're lighting the way for someone else. So to every Annie out there who is shared or wants to share, who has found even just a little bit of validation through this podcast, I want you to know I see you and I appreciate you. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. I truly believe that doing so helps another Annie find us. And remember, you are not just a survivor, you are a warrior against narcissistic abuse. You are stronger than you know. And I want you to be tenacious and never give up on what you believe in. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time.